All right, so we're live. Welcome everyone to the OJP TFSC session on preparing for success, how to prepare for desk reviews, site visits, and other monitoring activities. So to start off with a little bit of housekeeping tips. Welcome. This live discussion webinar is being hosted by the OJP Office for Justice Programs. And if you have any technical issues during the session, please contact myself, Jamil, or just email ojptfsc@usdoj.com. You can access the informational brochure and the FAQs with the links that I'll provide in the chat momentarily. To ask a question during the session, just please use your chat box to the right hand of your Zoom screen. And we'll show you how to use that in just a little bit. In order to have the most accurate attendance, please chat us right now just to tell us the number of people joining you on the session today, including yourself. Everything except for the Q&A session will be recorded today, and our live captions are available during the session. And you can access those by clicking the captions link in the bottom next to your chat button. Okay, so before we begin, let's go over a couple of Zoom tips. On the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you'll see a microphone icon. To mute yourself, you just click that icon, then you see a red slash. You're muted. If you're not speaking today, just please ensure you mute yourself just to avoid any background noise or any interruptions. To the right of the microphone icon, you see a video icon. You click that to turn your video on. Click it again, you see a red slash. That's how you know your video is off. To the right of those buttons, you see a chat icon. You click that to open up your chat window to the right-hand side of your window. And that's where we'll be communicating with everyone on the platform today there. So just type in the chat the last thing you have for breakfast, and let's see the responses. Hey, good morning, guys. How's it going? Coffee and donuts. And again, if you want to send a private chat, all you have to do is select that drop down, and you can select anyone on the platform to send a private chat to. And to the top right-hand side of your screen, you can change your viewing experience. So you can go with the speaker view where you can see only who's speaking at the time, or you can go with the gallery view where you can see a number of people videos at the same time. So let's meet our presenters. Our first presenter is Crystal McNeil-Wright. She's an associate CFO for the Grants Financial Management Division in the Office for Justice Programs. She brings more than 30 years of leadership and management experience. Crystal is also a published author of a book on parenting. We'll also have Edith Faith-Kunda. She is a financial monitoring manager at the Grants Financial Management Division in the Office for Justice Programs, bringing more than 30 years of accounting and financial management experience with government, nonprofit, for-profit, and international organizations. We'll also have Jawani Sarbara. He's a financial monitoring manager for the Evaluation and Oversight Branch, bringing more than 30 years of experience in accounting and auditing to the position. We'll also have Nicole Zamora Nisbet. She's a financial specialist for the OJP TFSC, serving the American Samoa, Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. We'll also have Janae Williams. She's a senior operations specialist for the OJP TFSC with 5 years of experience working with survivors of crime before joining the TFSC team. Last but certainly not least, we'll have Francis Mendez. He's a project director for the OJP TFSC. Francis has a background in law, social work, and business administration. So without further ado, I'll pass it on over to Crystal McNeil-Wright.
Thank you so much, Jamil. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to you in the Virgin Islands. Hopefully you have some great weather there. We're still dealing with a lot of humidity over here, but cloudy skies. I just wanted to say welcome to you. We're excited this morning to present on preparing for financial monitoring, visits, and desk reviews. It is our team in OCFO that will be doing the presentation that we've prepared. And you may be familiar with some of the names that you have heard, and many from my staff as we have gone out there to the Virgin Islands. So this morning, what we'll be talking about, as I said, is financial monitoring, and we'll have a Q&A session about that. We'll also do some case scenarios and activities and do some question and answers. So we'll be able to do some fun breakouts and learn a little bit more through case scenario. Then we'll have an open discussion, Q&A. So any questions that you have, We are online to answer if we can. If we cannot, we'll certainly take that question and get back to you very quickly. And then finally, we'll have a closing, discuss some next steps, and then we'll go from there. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my staff who will present on financial monitoring. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I got locked out of the system. I could only join by phone. For some reason, I can't log into my account, but luckily I can join by phone. And
problem.
hopefully we'll be able to do this remotely. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Office of Justice Programs, Office of the Chief Financial Officer, I would like to welcome you all to our financial management training webinar focusing on financial monitoring. My name is Edith Sangha, and I'm from the Office of the Chief Financial Officer, Grants Financial Management Division. Next slide, please. I can't see the slide, but hopefully I'm on the right slide. This is slide number 2. Today, we're going to talk about why we need to financially monitor our grants, the types of financial monitoring reviews we perform, our processes in conducting site visits and desk reviews, and finally, we're going to discuss our top 10 monitoring findings. Next slide, please. So why do we monitor? The primary objective of financial monitoring is to protect taxpayer funds from mismanagement and misuse and ensure that our grant recipients are in compliance with legislative, regulatory, and administrative requirements of their awards. We look at your financial management system, written policies and procedures, and financial records to ensure that they are adequate for administering grant funds. We want to obtain reasonable assurance that you maintain an adequate internal controls to protect those federal dollars. We want to make sure that you comply with appropriate program guidelines and federal regulations, as well as the terms and special conditions of your award document. We will evaluate your overall financial management of the grants that we have awarded to you. Based on this effort, we will provide you with technical assistance and recommend improvements as necessary. Next slide, please. We have 2 types of financial monitoring reviews. On-site reviews, where we perform our monitoring at the grantee site, and desk reviews, where we perform our monitoring right at our desk. Monitoring is a limited scope review, but we use audit techniques to examine and assess our grantees' accounting systems, internal controls, and related policies and procedures as they relate to federal grant transactions. Next slide, please. Once our monitors receive their monitoring assignments, they will normally contact your DOJ program manager and invite them to conduct a joint programmatic and financial monitoring review with us. A joint review is always beneficial because it's going to help ease the burden on you, our grantees, so you don't have to provide the same documents to several program managers and financial monitor several times throughout the year. Once our program manager and OCFO agree on a date, we will contact you, our grantee, to confirm your availability. Since we're conducting a financial monitoring review, we always require the financial people to be available during our site visits. After we confirm the dates with your agency, we will send out an official confirmation letter. On that confirmation letter, we will be requesting a number of documents from you in advance to help us better prepare for the site visit. We will also notify your state's U.S. Attorney's Office of our scheduled site visits as part of our protocol. Next slide, please. While waiting for the documents we requested from you, we will conduct a preliminary review of the information we already have within our internal systems. We're going to check to see the timeliness of the submission of your federal financial reports and progress reports. If indirect cost is approving your budget, we want to make sure that we have your most recent indirect cost rate agreement. We will also review your application narrative, budget worksheets that you submitted, and budget narratives, and review your most recent approved budget. Next slide, please. We will also review information that are currently in other federal systems. We will check to see if you submitted your single audit report timely to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. We're going to check SAM to make sure that your registration is current. And we're also going to check FSRS to see if you submitted your subaward information. Next slide, please. Once we get the documents that we have requested from you, we're going to review your accounting records to see if you are tracking each grant by approved budget categories or spending plan. For formula grants, we want to make sure that you are tracking your administrative costs. We're also going to select expenditure transactions and request for you to provide us with supporting documents for the sample selected. We're going to review your policies and procedures to see if they're adequate in administering grant funds. Next slide, please. We're going to compare your cumulative expenditures recorded in your accounting system with the cumulative expenditures reported on your FFR to make sure they reconcile to the penny. If there is a variance, you should be able to explain the variance. If you couldn't explain the variance, that means you're not reconciling your accounts. We also want to make sure that if you have indirect costs, match, and program income approving your budget, then you're also reporting them on the FFR every quarter. Next slide, please. Then we're going to compare the cumulative expenditures recorded in your accounting system with the total drawdowns as of the end of that particular quarter. Drawdowns should be on a reimbursement basis, except for certain formula grants like JAG and COVID-19 grants. If your total drawdowns are more than the expenditures recorded in your accounting system, chances are you have excess cash in your hands. And if you don't spend these funds for grant-specific purposes immediately, you have to return them back to OJP. Next slide, please. We're also going to compare your approved budget with your actual expenditures. After we verify the accuracy of the total expenditures per budget category, we're going to analyze your budget versus actuals for any irregularities. We're going to make sure that you're spending within your approved budget. If there are any deviations from your budget, we want to make sure that the total deviation does not exceed 10% and there is no change in scope. Whenever you make changes to your budget, it is highly recommended that you let your program manager know to ensure that you're still in compliance. If you have a zero budget category, we want to make sure that you don't have any expenditures on that zero budget category. If there's a need for you to spend on that specific category, you must obtain prior approval from your program manager. Next slide, please. We're going to review your actual single audit report. We're going to see if the OJ programs were selected as one of the major programs audited on your single audit report, and if so, if there are any findings related to DOJ awards. We will also look for any cost-cutting issues, meaning did we find the same problem during our monitoring reviews? And finally, we're going to check the Federal Audit Clearinghouse for timely submission of your single audit report. Next slide, please. So when we go on site, the first thing we're going to do is conduct an entrance conference. At the entrance conference, we're going to discuss the purpose of our review and the results of our preliminary review. We're going to check to see if you maintain an effective internal controls over federal awards that provide reasonable assurance that you are managing federal awards in compliance with federal statutes, regulations, and the terms and special conditions of your federal awards. Examples of basic principles of internal controls are established policies and procedures and segregation of duties. We will also check to see if you maintain an adequate financial management system and financial records that accurately account for all federal funds awarded to you. These records shall include both federal funds, all matching funds when applicable, as well as program income. You may put all your money in one pot as long as you can accurately track receipts, obligations, and expenditures of each individual grant separately by approved budget categories or spending plans. We're going to select a sample of expenditure transactions and ask you to provide us with documentation to support those expenditures. We'll also check whether the expenditures are allowable under the program guidelines, allocable within your approved budget, reasonable and necessary for your program, and adequately supported. Finally, we're going to conduct an exit conference at the end of our financial monitoring review and discuss with you the results of our review and provide you with technical assistance as necessary. Next slide, please. When we come back to the office, we will finalize our report and share it with your program managers and our Office of Audit, Assessment, and Management. You will receive a follow-up letter from us within 45 days identifying our findings and our recommendation to resolve them. You will have 30 days to respond to us with your corrective action plan to address all our findings. And if you need more time, just let us know and we will give you an extension. Once we get your cap, we will review your response and additional documentation that you have provided and issue either a partial closure or closure letter. Next slide, please. Okay, for desk review, what do we do when we conduct a desk review? The process for a desk review is very similar to a site visit. First, we're going to send you an email notification letting you know that we're conducting a desk review on your grant. Attached to our email is an internal control questionnaire, which we ask you to complete and return to us within 10 business days. Your responses to the questions will give us an understanding of your financial management system and grant processor. Next, we're going to conduct a detailed analysis of information contained within our internal system and in the various financial management automated systems such as SAM, Federal Audit Clearinghouse, and FSRS. We're going to check to see the timely submission of your FFRs and progress reports. We're going to conduct an excess cash analysis comparing expenditures reported on your FFR against drawdowns, since we don't have your accounting records at that time, compliance with special conditions on your award document, and meeting mandatory matching requirements. We also have a checklist that we complete similar to a site visit. If we need clarification or identified issues, we will contact you for additional information or work with you to resolve the issues. Once we complete our review, we're going to send you an email notification that the desk review is closed if there are no issues, or a recommendation letter. Next slide, please. At the end of each fiscal year, we're going to analyze our data, review all the issues we have identified during our desk review and site visits, and come up with our top 10 findings for that fiscal year. For fiscal year 2020, here are our top 10 findings. Number one, procedures not documented or need improvement. This always comes to the top because there's different types of procedures There's travel, there's personnel, there's inventory. And most of our grantees have general accounting procedures. However, some of them don't have procedures specific to managing federal grants. Number 2, FAFSA reporting requirements not met. Number 3, internal control weakness. You have procedures, but you don't follow your procedures. Number 4, FFRs do not reconcile to grantees' accounting records. Next slide, please. Number 5, award special conditions violated, unauthorized expenditures or drawdowns. Pay attention to the special condition that put a hold on your funds. If you see on your award document a condition that states do not obligate expend or draw down, that means do not obligate expend or draw down funds until the special condition is clear. When there is a special condition like this, we're going to check your date, the dates of your drawdowns, your expenditure dates, and any obligations you made. We have cases where grantees signed a contract or subawarded prior to the approval date of the GAN or GAM that released the special conditions. When you subaward or sign a contract, that is an obligation. Number 6, inadequate subrecipient files documentation. Number 7, authorized signing official or contact information not current. Number 8, indirect cost charged improperly, rate expired. Next slide, please. Number 9, excess cash on hand identified. And number 10, there are 2 findings that have equal scores, and they both ended up as number 10 on our top 10 findings. And that is audit report package not received at the Federal Audit Clearinghouse and unsupported costs related to personnel and fringe benefit costs. Next slide, please. There are a number of resources out there that can help you properly manage your grant. Next slide, please. There are 2 major resources you need to be familiar with, CFR 200 and the DOJ Grants Financial Guide. Use them as your primary resource in helping you fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities. Following them will keep you out of trouble and out of jail. Slide please. I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you so much, Edith. That was so informative and so much packed in a 30-minute span. I'm always really impressed when you do that. It's great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Janae Williams. As stated a little earlier, I am a TTA and an operations specialist for the TFSC. We're going to move on to our first poll question of the webinar. Edith talked about the top 10 financial monitoring findings that they find at the end of each fiscal year. We wanted to ask you all, which of the top 10 monitoring findings are you most interested in receiving training and technical assistance in? Because at the TFSC, our goal is to really meet you and really understand what your needs are. And so at every stage, we're trying to understand kind of what you all are looking for and what gaps we can fill, how we can help enhance the things you're already doing. And so I think the top 10 monitoring findings is a really good place to start. So the poll should have popped up on everyone's screens. If you could click, I believe it's a single choice. And so if you can, oh, it's actually just kidding, it's multiple choice. So it is a multiple choice. Please remember that if you can't see it, there's a little gray bar on the side of the polling question that you can scroll up and down so you can see all 10 of those. And you can select as many as you would like, or you could select one. It's completely up to you. So just make sure after you have selected all, you click submit at the bottom, and that should record your answers. So it looks like we have a few coming in now. Looks like a lead-in internal control weakness and procedures not being followed. That's really important. We are developing resources and guide sheets on in short videos on internal controls. It looks like next coming up is FFRs do not reconcile, which seems really important to grantees. So that's good to know. Just keep clicking as many as you think that you think will be helpful. And yeah, just remember to click that submit button on the side, and you're welcome to scroll kind of up and down to see the breadth of responses that the breadth of findings that OCFO found while doing their reviews. All right, so let's give like about one more minute to see if anyone else has any additional responses. This is really great feedback for us. We really appreciate you all contributing, because we want to help you in any way we can. And so this is going to be really helpful in kind of guiding what we create for you all and how we can best assist. Okay, so I think we can end it here. So yeah, so it looks like the trend followed. It looked like the top was internal control weakness and procedures not followed. The FFRs do not reconcile to grantees accounting records, and a pretty solid tie between some of the others. I want everyone to kind of know, even if you didn't vote or you did and maybe yours didn't get the top vote, that doesn't mean that you cannot receive help with that. As always, if you need assistance with something specific in your grant, something you have more questions about, please feel free to reach out to either Nicole or I, or reach out to that general help desk, and one of us will be happy to hop on a call with you, and we can talk things through and develop a plan to help you enhance your capacity. But right now we will turn it over. I'm going to turn it over to Nicole so that we can move on into our next activity.
Thank you, Janae. Okay, next slide, please. So we'll be moving into the case scenarios. We will review about 3 case scenarios. The first one we will start with. You're going to answer a poll at the end of it. So for case scenario 1, monitors request general ledger balances for the periods reported in the latest FFRs. Upon closer inspection, they notice cumulative balances in the accounting records do not equal the amounts reported in the FFRs as of the last quarter submitted. The reconciliation issue results in findings, and monitors will now require more detailed explanation of the variance. In addition, accounting records and/or FFRs should be adjusted as necessary. So next slide, please. So we're going to go over what could have been done to avoid these findings. So the first option is review FFR after submitted. The second option is reconcile FFR against accounting records at least on a quarterly basis. The third one is reprocess all accounting entries for the last quarter submitted. The fourth, post adjusted entries for the last quarter submitted. And then the fifth option, if you have an alternate idea, you can type it in the chat box. So we'll give you guys some time to complete this. You can select one option. So currently we have reconcile FFRs against accounting records at least quarterly, and we have post adjusting entries for last quarter submitted. We'll give a little more time to see if anyone else is going to contribute, and then we'll end the poll. Again, this is what could have been done to prevent the finding in terms of the FFRs not matching the accounting records. Okay, it looks like we do not have anyone else who's answering. So we'll go ahead and basically end the poll. So the correct answer for this one is actually reconcile FFRs against accounting records at least on a quarterly basis. Okay, thank you. So as Edith mentioned this for one of the options in making sure that you're always prepared for desk audits, reconciling on a quarterly basis would be the best thing to do. Next slide, please. So the second case scenario we're going to go over is on timesheets. As a result of the mismatch, monitors have now requested all general ledger accounts, details, and entries as of the most recent quarter. After reviewing all accounts, they concluded the error came from compensation expenses, specifically from employees' hours spent in program seminars. After further analysis, they requested the corresponding timesheets and find various timesheets that have not been properly approved and signed by a supervisor. What could have been done to prevent this finding? So for this specific one, we actually wanted each person to contribute through either the chat or unmuting and providing your feedback on what you believe could have been done. So this is in terms of the timesheets. When they requested the timesheets, they realized some of them were not properly approved by a supervisor. Does anyone have feedback or suggestions on what could have been done to avoid this finding? So we'll give just a little more time. Okay, so we have 2 responses in the chat. One person, Kendall, says use a system that does, I believe that's does not accept timesheets without a supervisor's signature. That's actually pretty good. And make sure all timesheets are approved by the supervisor. So that is correct. Because this is the issue with this is the supervisors did not sign the timesheets, and your timesheets should be signed for your federal projects. The third one was have immediate supervisors approve all timesheets. Does anyone have anything else? Everyone basically have all the similar points, making sure that your timesheets are approved. We're going to move on to the third case scenario. And for the third one, we just wanted to let you guys know you'll be going into breakout groups for about 5 minutes. So you'll review the case scenario with your team, and then you'll come back to the main room, and then you will basically share what you discussed and the feedback that was promoted in the team. So I will review it first, and then we'll break out again, and you can review it again. The missing signatures prompted monitors to request the current written policies on timekeeping. The policies and procedures were incomplete. Timesheets had not been signed as no alternative directions were established for when a supervisor is on leave and unable to review employees' work. The policies and procedure deficiency resulted in another finding. So now we'll go and we'll break out into the 2 groups. Something should show up on your screen to say join group. Please do not forget to click yes for that option. Anyone else have anything to add? In our group, it was also similar in terms of they needed to update their policies and procedures. So their policies and procedures need to be reviewed and updated. There was also mention of like sending out a memo to immediately inform staff members that what happens in the absence of a supervisor. And as you guys stated, that is basically having an alternate person as the signatory for the timesheets. There was also another suggestion of having the policies and procedures reviewed in 45 days post the implementation of the new policy and procedures to ensure that is working as it was intended. So not only developing and implementing the policies, but also coming in the back end and ensuring that your policies and procedures are doing what they're supposed to. So if it's implemented for this, that's what's happening. If you're still having issues, then the policies and procedures may need to be revisited again because it's currently not working as intended. Does anyone have anything to add on to that? So it looks like we don't have anything else to add on. Thank you guys so much for contributing and for really providing feedback on what you guys are doing and also what you would suggest other organizations to do in terms of this and how to prevent how to prevent findings during your monitoring. So now we're going to move on to a poll. And this poll question is going to basically be asking you guys about the case scenarios that you just discussed. So the first thing is, which of these 3 approaches did you find most helpful in discussing the case scenario activities? Polling questions, chat discussions, and then the breakout group. So did you find the polling questions that we did where you selected an option from the list as the best thing for you? did you all find the chat where you basically typed in your responses in the chat the best way to discuss the scenarios? Or was the breakout groups where you were able to physically speak the most helpful in terms of addressing the case scenarios? And definitely feel free to be as honest as possible for which one was helpful. We utilize these options to make sure that we incorporate different activities into our webinars. We utilize your feedback to like just enhance the webinars and make sure that you guys are getting as much as possible out of it. So provide the best responses, your most honest responses. All right, so right now we have the breakout group session as the most helpful. And then following that, the poll question and the last one was the chat discussion. So most people thought the breakout group discussion where you were able to interact with everyone to be the most helpful. We actually have someone in the chat. Kendall said this is a great idea. Oh, that was for the memo. For all three types of interactions were great. Well, thank you, Kendall. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next slide. During this time, we're going to discuss some resources, and I'm going to hand it over to Francis and he will go over that part for you.
Thank you, Nicole. Hello, everyone. This is Francis Mendez, Project Director for TFC. Glad to be with all of you here today. So I'm going to talk about some resources that we have available for you. These are brand new. So we have a guide sheet and a job aid checklist that focus on how to prepare for a desk review and site visits. The guide sheets has a list of policies and procedures to review and documents to have ready for your review or site visit. And the job aid checklist provides an overview on what kind of documentation is typically requested and what to expect during that review or visit. So I believe, Jamil, you're going to make those resources available for folks to be able to download. All right. So as a kind of follow-up resource, we're going to develop a summary of the kind of key takeaways of this webinar, and we'll be sending that to you in the next coming weeks. It's a resource for you. It's also something you can share with your colleagues, and we hope these things would be useful to you. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jamil, who's going to do the closing and talk about next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. So we're coming to the end of our session, but don't log off just yet. Let's just take a look at the next steps. So your feedback is really important to us. So please take a few minutes to complete our webinar evaluation survey by clicking the link that I'll provide in the chat momentarily. You can also scan our QR code here with your mobile device. So you just open up your camera and just click the link that pops up there. To contact the Virtual Support Center or the VSC, you can email us at OJP TFSC @usdoj.gov. And a response to email inquiries usually takes about 24 hours within the next business day. You can also schedule a consultation call with a financial specialist with the details provided in the chat. And I'll share a couple of links with you right now. So check out our website at ojp.gov/TFSC. And sign up for our listserv with the details linked in the chat below. Our next event, titled Learning Exchange Training Series number 3, Working Better Together, How to Manage Subawards and Subrecipients, will take place on Tuesday, October 26, 2021 at 10 a.m. ADT time. And I'll post the registration link in the chat below. And thank you all for coming out today. Thank all the hosts for speaking today. And if you don't have any questions, you can log off. Have a good day.